Good morning, Service Alliance community. How y'all doing today? TK, Brother Doug, what is up?
We're here.
You know what I've noticed, Zach, is your Friday good morning is much peppier than Mondays. Nice job, buddy.
It's a in the house office day because my truck's going into the shop to get some suspension work done. So what's there to complain about today, right?
Look at that, spending thousands of dollars and you're all happy. Nice job, Zach. It's all about the mindset, my friend.
Yeah. Good morning, Adam. Good morning, Gary.
How you been, Doug?
TK? I'm doing pretty good, man. I've been thinking about you lately because, you know, from a spiritual standpoint, even though sometimes you put some crazy stuff out there, which I love because you make us really dig deep. You know, trying to put everything in God's hands and trust Him instead of worrying and fretting and stressing. I did not think that'd be a challenge in my life early on in my faith, but it has become one now, man. I am the king of the hill and I want to be in control of it, and it's stressing me the heck out. Have you been through that phase before, TK?
I feel like I live in that phase, actually.
Really?
I was just thinking about that the other day. Well, we try so, we try so hard, and it's a hard balance between trying and surrendering, like when do I surrender and when do I put forth effort? And that's one of my biggest struggles is, we're to yield our lives over to Him, but at the same time, I'm constantly trying to pull some of it back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, faking it well, boyfriend. I just thought you would be the guy with the Moses beard that I could come to and you could do a blessing over me and help me get on my way. Blow in my ear, get momentum in my sails, man. Oh, man, it's tough. It's tough to not try to take control.
It really is.
You know what? I take comfort in that we got Peter walking on the water and then Jesus having to save his butt because, he couldn't. He had it going. He was doing it. And then he wasn't doing it anymore, right? So, like, even the disciples who were right there with him, still were struggling to figure it out, right? That's human nature, unfortunately, sin nature.
Oh, something, Zach, it's almost better when you don't realize you're doing it.
Yeah.
But once you know and you're trying to make that adjustment, that change, that surrender, man, oh man, that might be the word for me to ponder for the next week. Just surrender, not give up, but surrender the good things, right?
Yes, sir. TK, you got a proverb for us today.
I do got a little proverb for you.
And we got a Brother Doug prayer coming because he came on.
You want me to share the proverb first?
Yeah.
All right, let me see if it'll work. Why is it not showing? Come on, show. I'm clicking it. There it goes. All right. Proverbs 18:15. Intelligent people are always ready to learn. Their ears are open for knowledge. And I read this one yesterday. I read my proverb a day early because Doug put me on the spot last night. And I already had this one highlighted. I'm not going to lie. But one thing I like to do is when I'm reading through my Blue Letter Bible, if you don't have Blue Letter Bible on your phone, highly recommend the Blue Letter Bible app. I like to highlight certain verses that stick out to me. And this one's always stuck out to me. And, when you first read it, it seems pretty okay. Intelligent people are always ready to learn. Their ears are open for knowledge. But are we really always ready to learn? Are we really things happen during the day, things happen in life, and I'm not trying to learn. I'm frustrated. I'm going through this. I'm going through that. The last thing I'm doing is trying to learn at this time because I'm going through whatever I'm going through. I'm struggling. But I think if we would be more receptive during those times of frustrations and trials and tribulations, we would learn so much more.
Mhm.
When we're fighting that battle, like Doug was talking about earlier, where we're trying everything in our power to do what we can and surrender over to God, and things just seem crazy. Those are learning times. When the business stuff gets crazy and the problems are stacking up, those are learning times. The biggest failure you can do, the problems are there whether you like it or not. The biggest failure you can make during those times is not learning and growing and becoming better. Because God already knows our failures. We're not surprising him. He was like, oh, he's not like, oh man, Doug, what? You again? Are you kidding me? And I think oftentimes we're our worst critics and we're our worst enemy. And we need to realize, as my boy Myron Golden says, we need to realize who we are because of whose we are. And that's we're the children of God, and we need to realize that he knows we make mistakes. He knows we're going to fail. He knows we're going to mess up. And he loves us anyway.
That's good stuff.
That's all I got, buddy.
Well,
Pray
let's
us up,
cover
brother.
it. Let's cover it in prayer. Lord God, we thank you that your word is more than a font on pages, but a living word. That this word is alive. It's you, as you came on this earth and walked in the shoes that we walk currently. God, thank you for that. As TK has reminded us through Proverbs, Lord, create a sponge in our mind, in our heart, in our soul. Let us never be complacent, to continue to understand and know you in the most deepest of ways, Lord. God, I can remember that moment of contemplating you in my life and being concerned about what you would transform me into, what I would have to say or do, and being afraid that that's not what I wanted to be. And God, thank you for putting that man Choosy in my life to tell me to trust in you and to believe that whatever you have me become, I will not be ashamed of it, but I will be completely surprised that you will exceed my expectations. And so, Lord, I lift myself and anyone else to you that can hear this prayer or not, that if we are holding back in receiving the full glory of you and Jesus, that you soften our hearts and you humble us right now. God, help us be like you and maximize the opportunity of here on life, and remember that eternity goes on forever, and that one day we will be with you in perfection, celebrating the rest of forever and ever with you. So God, help us be the light of the world. Help us do our part to make sure that no one is left behind, that everyone gets to rejoice with you forever and ever. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Good prayer, Doug. Thank you.
Oh, thanks for letting me come on today, guys.
Yeah,
It's $100. It's a lot to come on. I mean, $100. I had to Venmo Zach to get in, but it's worth it though to hang out.
it is. It's money well spent. And anybody watching, you want to come on, $100, you're in here.
Good morning, Brandon. Good morning, Joe. Garrison, good morning. And
I've heard some critiques
Dan.
that Freestyle Friday, that sometimes Zach and I, it seems like it's Freestyle Monday as well, right, Zach? Sometimes we just kind of go all over the place. So it's interesting. I'm trying to stay in control. You guys lead this conversation, will you? Is that how that works on
It's
Freestyle?
Freestyle Friday, man. There is no game plan. We sent the link out, so we don't even. There might be other people that pop in and join us. We don't know, but I'm super happy that you're here. I'm gonna send you a video that me and the wife watched last night that Myron Golden did. It's a Bible study. It's powerful stuff. I've been watching a lot of his stuff lately, and I love it. It's really encouraging and a little preachy, but not too preachy. And he does it in a very very no BS way. Like he doesn't sugarcoat anything. He lets you know exactly how it is. I'll send you the video we were watching.
Yeah, thank you.
So I got kind of a fun topic. I don't know if you have taken one, TK, or not. But the DISC assessment. So I was having a conversation with the former owner of True Roof, who I started for in February before we sold out. And we were just talking about how the DISC plays a part in hiring and really understanding who you're bringing into your company. So he had a link, and I'm like, you know what? I haven't taken one in probably 2 years. Let's see how the work I've been doing has been doing, right? And so historically, my DISC has showed that I'm a dick. Extremely high D, followed by I. C was right there. My I and my C would flip back and forth in the DISC assessment, and S was just like non-existent, right?
What?
Yeah, I know, big shock, right? Here's the bigger shock. I took this assessment, extremely high D, followed by S.
Hey, so you kind of grew or changed a little bit, huh?
Yeah, and then I was right in behind that, and C was actually almost non-existent this time.
Wow.
And so as he's going through all the components of it, like there's some other components that go to that, and it kind of talks about like how you work within the environment, right? So like he's like an extremely strong leadership component, political, what's the other one? Economic. Like these things are kind of like really strong. And he goes, you definitely have just like this core of being a leader. And I'm like, well, that means 3 years of work has played itself out. And I'm seeing the fruits of that. You're seeing the fruits of that in the test. And I snapped a shot of, my library, my go-to books, the ones that I've really been digging into. And I'm like, there you go. Like there's the work, right? So I bring this up because as leaders in the company, are we working on our weaknesses? Have we identified what our weaknesses are within ourselves? And then are we hiring people that complement that? Are we just hiring bodies? Are we asking these questions? Are we being curious as we're bringing on team members? So
step one is being aware of that weakness that you have, and then like you said, finding someone to fill that gap for you. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
He brought it up because he was.
Is that a surprise about Mike Carson?
No.
Yeah, we didn't need an assessment for that, Mike.
I mean, so it's funny within Service Alliance, you have Mike and I who are extremely high D, and so when you'll see us battle it out, and it's just like we have different ways of thinking about things, so we go back and forth, and that high D definitely comes out.
So D is dominance, right? A proponent of confidence and decision making, confidence in your decision making, right?
Yep.
How would you explain I? Because I almost feel like TK would be like a strong I. That's influencing, right?
Yeah, influence. S is steadiness, and C is consciousness. I was trying to find the little breakdown that Shayna had, because it was really a good one. It's not pulling it up on the computer. Oh, you know where I have it? I sent it to my wife because she's like, "What the heck are you talking about, you freaking weirdo?" Here we go. Yeah, so D, the need is challenge and dominance, right? I is recognition and interaction. S is appreciation and service. and then C is quality, answers, and correctness. So like if we take mine, knowing I was DIC normally with my I and my C flipping back and forth, quality and correctness. No, I don't need things to be just in a certain way all the time. And I've learned to kind of let go of some of that to an extent, right?
Takes practice, right?
Yeah. Recognition and interaction. That's that social component. That very much is TK. I guarantee he's a pretty
the I, right? The I is interaction. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm betting TK, if he takes one, is a very high.
I just took one with
Jason. What's your result?
I never got my results. Maybe he sent them to me and I didn't see the email or something. I'll reach out to him. I want to see what mine was.
Jason, if you're watching, send it over to TK. I do have a feeling that you're in that higher I, and I'm betting there's a S component to TK as well.
I was just gonna say, TK, I'm an ISDC, so I have a sneaky suspicion we're a little bit alike in the way we process life. So minus the beard.
Minus the beard.
Yeah. Well, and so those are very. I mean, if you watch the interactions on the grind, you can see this play out.
Yeah.
Right. So if you watch Doug and I on the grind, if you watch TK and I on the grind, those interactions we kind of play off of each other.
TK,
well.
do you think that people in your group, like even Appliance Alliance, do you think that people know when you're frustrated, the moment you're frustrated or disappointed or aggravated, or does it take a little time for them to know? Do you reveal it? Is it easy to see?
Are you talking about like in the Facebook group?
Just in any kind of situation when you're in a group, like let's say you're just annoyed, not necessarily with the group, but you're annoyed. Can people know it, or do you kind of put on a presentation of even keeledness, or can people read you pretty well?
I feel like people can read me pretty well. I mean, the people that know me can read me pretty well. They can tell when I'm not. And usually, like, I'll just come out and tell you. Like if I'm going,
he doesn't pull punches when he's upset. No,
really?
Yeah, like I'll just tell you, like if I'm going through it. Well, there's no sense in hiding it, is the way I look at it. You know,
right.
We know if I'm going through something and I'm in a shitty mood, then I'm gonna let you know. That way, you can give me a little grace and a little understanding, and
you
know,
great communicator. That's
no,
great.
I do when I'm with a customer or whatever, I bottle it all up and I put on my game face and act like everything's honky dory. But you know, if I'm around people that I care about and I know care about me, like I'll let you know straight up if I'm struggling.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I'll have to hang out with you sometime. You can rub off on me a little bit.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you don't want to hang out with me. It's written all over my face.
I enjoy that too, though, Zach. I want to be more of a Zach. You know, just let it rip.
My trick is learning. You know, like TK said, like what's the point in hiding it, right? Like I'm gonna need some grace when I'm going through it, and so if you know how I'm feeling, then we can work together if we're in that. My trick is learning how to hide it with customers and other people that I'm not close to, because you know that level of understanding is not there. I need to kind of figure out how to get it off my face. You know, my daughter calls it the stupid look, right? Like if I'm just questioning what you're doing or what you're thinking or what you're saying, it's written all over my face. I mean, no hiding it.
And trust me, I'm not trying to be fake or put on a front. I don't even know I'm doing it. That's the part where I have to kind of get in touch with my inner TK and try to kind of express it as it's coming. Like I think it happened yesterday. My service manager, who is a self-proclaimed non-relational person, he doesn't identify or like, how are you feeling, my friend? He's like, oh, I have no idea. I don't seek out my feelings. I just wake up, I do my job, I go home, I hang out with my family. So, and he asked me yesterday, he goes, are you all right? It looks like you've been under a lot of stress. So I go back to my office, I sit down and I go, oh yeah, I am a little bit under stressed, right? So he even picked up on it, but before I picked up on it myself. So maybe I need a therapist. I'm an Appliance Alliance member. Do you guys have like a therapy board that I can hop on a call and just you guys can try to fix me?
I don't know how well that would turn out, buddy. You might leave if we're your therapist, you might leave more jacked up than when you came. We're not qualified for that.
Now I'm learning to encourage people, so I might be able to encourage you. EJ said the other day, it's kind of messed up. I'm calling you for encouragement, and I didn't know whether to be honored or offended by that one. So
that is good. That is good. So at work, TK and Zach, do you feel like do you trust your process and in a way surrender to allowing things to go through your process and procedures and let it take its course, or do you try to get in and grab it and manage it yourself?
I'm gonna let you go first.
Okay. I am actually extremely thankful right at this current season because we have a really good team and things are going really smoothly. And because I have the system set up that I can just kind of watch from afar and step in when need be. But I mean, my team is we're small, but we are freaking on point. We are on the same page. And I mean, it's just such a blessing. Many, many moons ago, Zach turned me on to using Telegram to organize everything in my business. And I'll say that has been one of the biggest smart moves I've done. Nice. Because everything comes through Telegram and all I have to do is pay attention to that. We have the chat for parts. We have a chat for job issues. We have a chat for authorization. We have a general conversation chat. We have a chat for each individual text so that my parts manager or Beth in CSR, customer service, can put stuff out there. And I just monitor that, and people know that if Beth knows that if I need to step in, she'll call me. And I don't like to step in. I like to know that things are taken care of. And when I'm needed, I'll be called upon. But I don't want to micromanage people anymore. I did that for a long time. And, we've got the aces in their places, and it's really going well right now.
I love that. I really, I've had to learn to kind of let go of some of that rigidness. But I feel like with communication, you almost need more rigidness, right? So, we got our general chat, we got our problems chat, we got our parts chat, we got, and you keep the conversation within there tied to that. I cry when I see the chats that we have on Facebook, just like off the rails. It's just like random, and it's good because I like to see people talk. And so I've kind of just let go of some of that. But I feel like with communication, it really does need to be channeled in that kind of right spot, right? So to answer your question, Doug, I'm in a weird spot, right? Like it's not my process. It's not my company. And I try to not die inside when I watch the process that's in place not get followed by the people that put it in place. Like if I'm supposed to pass something off to someone and they're supposed to handle it and they don't handle it and I have to continually follow up on it, it takes everything I have not to have, that face kind of contort out of shape.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But in that, like, where's the good in that? Like learning those lessons, because then I go back and I look at where Gordon's was, and I look at some of the other dysfunctional teams I've been in, and I go, man, what was my part in that? Right. Like I look at the process I put in place at Gordon's, and I look at the technicians and the CSRs that didn't follow it. And I'm like, there's where I went wrong. Like there's where I just failed my own process. There's where I failed at holding people accountable, stuff like that. So yeah, I definitely didn't trust my process. It was a good process, but because I didn't follow it, no one else followed it.
Right.
And I had no one else to blame but myself, right? We say it all the time as the leader, like, it's you. It's your fault until it's not your fault. And so, you know, if you can learn to recognize that and hold yourself accountable in following your process, then the others, you know, you can begin to hold them accountable as well. So how about for you?
I mean, the visual that I have, I remember this moment where I was like, I need to be 50 feet higher than everyone else and not be in the loop of things or in the process, because unless I choose to be part of that part. But if I'm creating roles and expecting people and wanting people to thrive in there, I got to get out of the way. And then when I figured that out and I got 50 feet higher, I was like, this is pretty neat, because now I'm getting a look back and a look forward. And my mindset is, how did we get here? You know, like a good example would be if the phone was ringing and after the third ring, if someone didn't pick it up, my skin is crawling. I'm dying. You know, I'm like, what the heck is going on? And I'd grab the phone, I'd take the call, probably not as well as you're supposed to, because I didn't stick to my process. And so I'm causing more problems. And so for me, when I got 50 feet higher, I was like, what's going on here? You know, how did we get here that this many CSRs can't stay on top of this phone system and what we got to achieve? And can this continue? And will this continue? And if so, I need to make a big picture decision to add someone or to get rid of someone or to change the process. So it's kind of like your hands are off the wheel and you're on autopilot, but you're the programmer of it. Took me a little bit, you know, to not let the skin crawl and then report to my office manager, say, it seems like we're struggling to get those phone calls today. What's happening? And, you know, she takes care of it. So but I enjoy being 50 feet higher now. I like problem solving. And I wouldn't have the time to problem solve if I was in there trying to fill in the gaps, you know?
So it sounds like you're doing that pretty well, TK. Like you've figured out how to get yourself kind of above that. You put the process in place, you trained your people up, and you're just kind of trusting that to happen. So that's encouraging for me.
And the biggest thing is staying attached enough that when the problems do arise, we can do what we were talking about with the proverb earlier and say, hey, what needs to be changed so this doesn't happen again?
Yeah.
We've changed so much in the last year with just simple little changes to already existing processes. It wasn't a brand new process. It was just a little tweak, a little change. And those little tiny tweaks and changes on already existing processes. That's why I try to, when I'm teaching about standard operating procedures and stuff like that, I try to drive home, you have to review these processes and procedures. You can't just set them there. You know, they're not the 10 commandments. They weren't handed down by God. You're not God, and you ain't got it right the first time.
Yeah.
These are ever evolving, ever changing things, because your company is ever evolving. Because if you're not changing, you're not learning and growing. My team already knows when a problem arises, the question that I'm going to ask.
Yeah.
What do you think that question is, Doug?
What do we have to change, or what do we have to do differently to make sure this doesn't happen again?
Exactly. What could we have done differently? Where's the breakdown in the system? I'll give you a real simple one. And I think I've mentioned this one before. We were running KPIs monthly, but our recalls weren't lining up properly, because a lot of times I'd be the one running the recall and that tag would go on me. So it would look like it was my recall. So we were having to go back into the job, look at the timeline, figure out who started the call, when all we had to do was make a tag for every single technician. It was a tiny little tweak that made so much difference. Recall TK, recall Ethan, recall Austin. So now at the end of the month, I run my report. I pull up the tag, recall TK. I see he's had 45 recalls. I fire his ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never had 45.
Well, you can make great decisions because you got the information there. And
the key is that small little tweak. Hey, this isn't going right. We had a damage issue with a refrigerator being moved out, and we have pictures before, pictures after, all that stuff, but we never had a damage waiver in place. The technician said it was already there. The customer said the technician did it. So now we have in workies a damage waiver, and my guys know, if you see something, bring it to the customer's attention, give them the waiver, and make them sign it. We're covered at that point. It doesn't matter what you say. So just little stuff like that.
Take pictures for sure. It's clarity and communication, right? All you did was just add one word to recall. I had inherently done that, because I knew that a lot of times someone else was going back on the recall, and so it was always whatever technician's name plus recall. And then I took it a step further, and I put a BS recall tag in there, right? So it was something that wasn't actually like a recall. Now, what that did is that caused me to dig into those recalls, right? And this was a change in process. I just had the recalls, and then we had no follow-up on it. My tweak was adding BS to it, because what BS would tell me is customer education, not clear communication, right? Or there was a new issue, right? And so, then we could put the new issue tag in that followed that. But the BS was like, okay, guys, we need to work on clarity with the customer. Have we clearly communicated, right? Do they understand how to use their machine? Do they understand this thing that you told them when you were out there after working with the machine? Or did we create another problem? So that clarity and communication is a huge thing.
Well, that's you taking complete responsibility as a company, because the reality is you can sit there and in court blame the customer. Listen, I've said this same thing 1,000 times, and everyone understood but you. And so this is on you. This isn't on me. But you're not getting any more money, and you lost money because you can't do a different call in that place. So it's our role to adapt and change and be more impeccable with our word and communicate well. I remember that time that I had to go back and move the dryer and washer out so that the lady could fit the ironing board back in there. And I was like, really? Like, she already pulled the ironing board out before I got there so I can service the dryer. So it's not my fault, and now I have to go back for free and move it out 2.5 inches. Drove me nuts, but then I realized it's my fault. So then after that, it was like, when I'm all said and done, I'd talk about the dryer and say, is this the right place for your machines? No, actually, could you move it out a little bit? And every time that would happen, or could you move them closer together? Even if they wouldn't have called me back, that little old lady having to move the washer and dryer closer together could have been a challenge. Maybe she couldn't do it. And now she's got to live with Doug left it open longer than she wants. And some people, that would drive them bananas. So what great opportunity to serve a customer by giving them a chance to say, is this the way you would like me to leave it when I leave here. Great respect to the customer.
Such a simple phrase, and everyone should be doing that every time. It's wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
But well, TK and I both have a hard stop here. We gotta get
Hard stop
running.
7 minutes ago.
Yeah, well, you know.
Yeah.
Good morning, Andrew. Good to see you.
Andrew,
buddy.
what's up, dude?
Well, thanks for letting me come on, TK. Appreciate that, my friend.
Absolutely.
Dude,
My
we're
Venmo account's been glitching, so if the 100 kicks back, it's Venmo's fault. Sorry.
That's right. We'll comp you this week. Just make sure you got your we want cash in hand next week.
All right.
So
or next time you come on.
If you guys aren't
doing some Freestyle Fridays, inviting some different people on, kind of seeing who's going to come in, and if you're out there and you want to join us, let us know. We'd love to have you. Not saying you have to, but if you want to hop on a Freestyle Friday, and you want to pray up or share a verse or just talk about business, we'd love to have you. And that's really all I got. I hope everybody has a great weekend.
So if you're not paying attention to the date, tomorrow is the day. Next mastermind, October 19th, knowing your numbers with EJ. Who can join that? All access members, servicealliancegroup.com, become an all access member. We're doing these masterminds every single month. And it's just a great way to learn more and help you kind of ask some new questions in your business and begin to move things in the right direction. So if you're not a member, servicealliancegroup.com, come join us tomorrow for knowing your numbers as a mastermind Saturday morning. So with that, we will see you guys Monday, Doug and I, on the morning grind. Have a good weekend, guys.
Bye, guys.
See y'all later.